Hi there. Sorry, this is a little amateurish. I'm just going to hold my phone over the cards while you pick a pile. Green is pile 1, and pink is pile 2, and yellow is pile 3. And I am also going to explain to you what I mean by the mother wound just after showing you the cards. So listen to that if you don't know what I mean before you head to the piles. Alright, so pause the video if you need more time to pick your pile. For the others, we are going to start. Okay, hi. Hello. So, the mother wound. Archetypally, developmentally, the mother is in charge of teaching the child how to regulate their appetites, hunger, thirst, physical discomfort, right? You can imagine when a child is born, that's what the child needs from the mother or the parent or the mother figure. Now, the mother has nothing to do with the gender of the person as such, though culturally I know that it is generally biological mothers who perform this function, but for you it could have been someone else. So when I use the word mother, experience it expansively. It could be your biological mother, it could be other parent figures who took care of you early childhood, it could be other mother figures through your life, like teachers or even lovers or friends or siblings, your own children. Basically, anyone who has helped you understand and regulate your appetites, your needs. Okay, the mother teaches us how to be at home in our own bodies, and you can think of that metaphorically. So if you've had a teacher who's helped you understand what you need intellectually, or they were the ones who told you, well, I think you're neurodivergent and you are not enjoying these classes because you need a different kind of learning system. That is an act of mothering, where the teacher taught you how to be in your own body. Okay, so when we talk about the mother wound, we are talking about mothers who haven't been able to help us in that way, or mothers who haven't been able to understand our appetites or have projected other appetites or other kinds of needs upon us. So I don't need to eat less because I have a particular kind of body figure, but that's the need that could have been projected on me. Oh, you need to eat less, when actually I needed to eat more. It's just random example, but mother wounding is around mothers not being able to see us, mothers not being able to help us, mothers projecting their own needs upon us, or mothers even rejecting our actual authentic needs, gaslighting us. So we're going to talk about the ways in which you have been wounded by your mother figures. Now, remember that the goal of this reading is not to blame anyone. It's not to say, oh, if you had only done your job better, I would have suffered less or whatever. We are who we are because of the wounds we've sustained, because of the suffering that we've been through. Our goal here is not going to be, venting, and it's not going to be othering our mothers who also, I'm sure, been through complicated lives of their own. Our goal is to find peace with whatever wounding we have sustained. Our goal is to understand that wounding better, so now we can mother ourselves. Really, the goal of this reading is to strengthen the inner mother. Okay? Because no matter how many mother figures we have around us and how many mother figures we have been in close touch with, we've all internalized that function of mothering. Some of us have managed to create very healthy mothers inside of us in spite of, whatever we've experienced, and others of us have been unsuccessful in creating healthy mothers. So we have harsh mothers, cruel mothers. The goal is for us to have healthy inner mothers. All right. Let's start with pile 1. Okay. I'm going to shuffle on camera, draw the energy out that way. Very friendly mother figures here. I'm seeing like a mother say to their child, I want to be your friend. Very relaxed, very casual. You can tell me anything. And they mean it. They mean it. It's real. Now, if you're hearing this and feeling like, no, I haven't had this experience with my mother figures, this may not be the pile for you, because this is definitely a pile for those of you who've had very relaxed mothers, friendly. Things were really good for you, early childhood, I'm seeing. No matter what other adults did, your mother figures, they really saw you and understood you. But things changed when you grew up, paradoxically. You started having trouble with them as an adult. There's a feeling that you maybe discovered something about them that made you feel like, oh, you're not the person I thought you were. You know, maybe you discovered that they'd said something really problematic years ago, or they had instituted a policy at their workplace that was unjust. They didn't believe someone who said that they were raped, something like that. It feels like a question of moral, ethical, political injustice, and it feels really big. As always with pile 1, there's hair somewhere in my face. Moral, political, unethical, moral, political, ethical injustice. And then you start seeing them in a very different light. Yeah, 10 of Cups in reverse. It really shook you. Feels like a very bad and extended moment of disillusionment. Star in reverse. Like your role model, your mother was your role model, and suddenly they've done something unforgivable. It doesn't feel personal, like it's not something that they did to you or to someone in your family. It feels more professional, or it feels more at a more collective level. And this happened and you felt totally shattered, but you didn't understand why you still continued loving them. You could have really struggled with trying to understand, why do I still care so much about this person when I know that they've done this thing that I consider to be absolutely and hideously wrong. You could also have tried to explain to them lovingly what was so wrong about what they did. Okay, there's a feeling that they didn't readily accept that whatever they did was wrong. And you could have thought, let me just explain it to them. If they'll understand it, then they will be the person that I thought they were. They will apologize, they will own up, That didn't happen, sadly. This has changed everything for you in the sense that you now have trouble trusting your judgment of human beings. It could have affected a majority of your relationships, feeling doubtful and suspicious of others, of yourself. Yeah, it's been very, very hard for you to move on from this. There's just no understanding what to do. What am I supposed to do? This person who was my world, who I looked up to, who I loved, who I felt really, really loved by. This person is, there is something wrong that they don't see in themselves. There's a lot of tension in your relationship still, no matter how long it may have, how far ago in time this may have happened. You may not want to be in communication at all, but that too is unbearable for you, distancing yourself from them completely. This is your question, pile 1. This is your question. I don't know how to distance myself from them in spite of knowing what they did. I can't stop loving them. I can't stop wanting their love. And that makes you feel really dirty and guilty because you feel like your loving relationship is built on the misery of someone else. It's a really tough situation to be in. You doubt everything of your childhood now. The goodness there. And there's a sense of being orphaned. It's really bad. Yeah, okay. Alright, pile 1, your guidance is really simple. Simple in terms of the message, very hard in terms of actually doing it. You haven't fully accepted that they did something that you consider wrong. I mean wrong. Okay? You are still, something in you is still trying to look for a reason, trying to look for some way to exonerate them. You're still waiting on them to understand, waiting on them to own up, waiting on them to educate themselves. You have a lot of trouble accepting that your mother is many people like us all. Your mother is many selves, and one of those selves you consider rotten. Now, this is a very, very hard thing for a child to accept of their primary object. I don't mean object as in thing, I mean that in a clinical sense. The mother is our first object of desire and love and feelings and aggression and wanting and fear and all kinds of things. And it's as it is, it's really hard to manage that, and then to have a really good mother who you see as wonderful and trustworthy and have that image break, it's very, very hard. So I want to validate that what you're going through is really difficult emotionally. But you are not a child anymore. And now your task is to accept that one of the selves of this mother is not what you needed to be. Now, depending on the level of the injustice here, the level of their crime here, you're going to have to think, okay, am I going to see this as one of the selves that is rotten, or am I going to see this as the whole basket is now irredeemable. It's going to be different for different people, right? You're going to have to make that decision of treating this as, okay, this is an offense that I can't get over, but also I want to accept that my mother did this, or this is an offense that means that I cannot be with them anymore. You haven't come to this decision internally. You've been waiting for your mother to do something to help you decide. Either own up or do something worse. You may also be waiting for that to happen. Like, just do that again. Do something worse so that, the decision is made. Like, you're irredeemable and you need to get out of my life, or watch for a little chink of light, in their field. Oh, this feels really bad, pile one. But you are being guided to be the king of swords in this situation, which means that gain clarity internally. It's not about them anymore. Okay, you've already given them the time to do something about their mistake, because we all make mistakes. It's what we do after the mistake that matters. Yeah, so you've given them time to do something about the mistake. You have all the data you need to make a judgment. Your guides are saying that you will not, don't think that there is going to be an erroneous judgment here. Whatever you decide, you decide. Whatever decision you take is going to be right for you. It's like, it just has to be true. It just has to be something you genuinely come to. There are messages about your inner mother at this time. Healing the mother line. Look at that. Healing the mother line, growing up. And I think part of your arc of growing up is going through this really difficult moment of seeing your mother for who they are. Flaws and all, crimes and all. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion. Your inner mother is very peace-loving and very beauty-loving and very Venusian, and so this is too much. But also remember that Venus rules Libra, the sign of justice. Venus is not just about beauty. Venus is also about knowing what is right and what is just, and Venus is the goddess of judgment. So please know that you are entirely capable of taking the right decision here for yourself. Yeah, your inner mother is like the mother that you experienced in your childhood. Very friendly, very loving, very beauty oriented, not interested in hierarchies, invested in following the thread of joy. And I think your access to this inner mother right now is also fraught because of whatever's happening with the external mother. You need to reconnect to this inner mother. Reconnect. Soul family, call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. Are there other mother figures that you can rely on at this time when we're very, very helpful? Also sisters. So we have Sisterhood of the Rose. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. Yeah, I feel like you need just some quiet, sacred waters, nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, self-care. Yeah, I think you need some uninterrupted quiet time, some relaxed time. Like designate one Sunday this month, or designate some time for this work this month, and just sit that whole day. Don't do anything. Eat well, take care of yourself, and work through this problem quietly. It's a mental working out that you need to do. The emotional processing will happen later once you make the decision. Okay. I'm sorry, Pile 1. This is really tough. It's tough. high pile 2. I'm going to shuffle on. Oops. All right. I am going to take that as a sign that we're going to work with a half deck here. I was saying that I'm going to shuffle on camera and draw out your energy that way. Absence of the mother here. It's an absent mother. Very busy maybe. Or maybe they were working while they were growing up, so they weren't home for long periods of time. Though it feels more like emotional absence rather than physical absence, because working mothers can be very much emotionally present for their children. This feels like an emotional absence, like your mother was very caught up in the problems of their life. Feels like perhaps in their marriage or in their romantic relationships, things were very bad, and that occupied their whole attention, and you felt overlooked. That you had to compete for their attention, which was always and already given to the partner here. And the father feels like they're not there at all for you. Yeah. I'm sorry, pile 2. That does not sound like a comfortable childhood. The mother is also very angry, not at you, at the circumstances of their life. I think towards you, there's an absence of feeling. Like they're not even angry towards you. If they were to get angry, maybe you'd know that they feel something for you. So as a child, you may have been involved in provoking them a lot too, maybe, just to feel like they feel something for you. Yeah, Temperance in reverse. Their energies were very imbalanced. I think you spent a lot of time trying to help them, trying to understand them. I think you were split. You could have been a classic problem child, doing things unconsciously to gain their attention, and these things could have been problematic, like not doing your homework or getting into fights with other kids. So you had a split in you. In one way you were creating problems for them. I mean, I don't mean that literally. You weren't creating problems, you were asking for connection and love. But then on the other side, you were also hyper focused on them and trying to understand them and trying to see if you can help. This mother figure occupies too much real estate mentally for you. Occupies too much space. Always has. Hearing, always has. But they didn't want your emotional support. They treated you as a child always. I mean, you were a child. They didn't treat you like a child. You know what I'm trying to say is that though you gained mental maturity very early on because of the situation, they never laid stock in your intelligence. And in that, treated you like a child. Like, oh, okay, what do you know? And other ways, of course, didn't treat you like a child, didn't give you what you needed as a child. There is something about their independence that you you could have internalized. So it may be very hard for you right now to be in healthy, interdependent relationships with others, because there is something of your mother's independence that you seek within you. The thing you have to understand, Pile, too, is that your mother may have been independent in certain ways, but the fact that they were so occupied by the problems of their partnership that they weren't able to balance that part of their life and your existence and perhaps other parts of their lives, that tells me that it wasn't true independence. Okay? What do I mean by that? I can be really independent at work, but then I come home and I'm extra dependent on my partner, or I'm extra dependent on my mother, and I call them every day and I need to vent about work for an hour. At work, I'm completely balanced. No one would even know that I need to vent for an hour every day, but I come home and I collapse. That's not true independence. That is the show of independence, or that is a kind of balance that I have struck externally to manage one part of my life. So it feels like that with your mother, that whatever the situation was, they were just coping with that situation by staying independent in certain respects from you, by not attaching to you, by not pouring into you. But it wasn't true independence. And this is something that you have to learn as an adult, that the model of independence that you've inherited is not really independence. It's like a split between avoidance and emotional immaturity. Because they might have had an immature dynamic with the partner, like depending on their validation too much, needing their validation too much, needing their presence too much, not being able to distance themselves from the partner, not being able to separate, for example, if the marriage was really bad. Yeah. I think that the way you have the way this energy has grown through you is in making you have a lot of love for other people, but you may not like expressing it. You have a lot of care for other people, but you may just like managing it rather than be open-hearted, be vulnerable, say the things on your mind, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to apologize, accept that other people can make mistakes. You know, that kind of emotional suppleness in relationships where you don't have to be perfect, but also you're accountable for what you do, and you don't have to be strong all the time, but also there is strength in the way that you're committed to the relationship. I think you're denying yourself relational happiness because of what's happened with your mother. I don't think that you feel something really bad happened to them and that's why you don't want to take a risk in relationships. I don't think it's that. It's more like you idealize your mother's independence in some way, and though it hurt you, though they didn't give to you, there is still some draw that you have towards it. What is it? What is that draw? Why is it so valuable to you? It's really complex. something in you has settled onto this, what you think of as a fact. You've decided this is a fact. What is it? That people won't give. That people are inherently selfish. That generosity is something that doesn't exist. That if someone is giving something to you, then they want something out of it. That the only interaction possible in love is an exchange, and it's a calculated exchange. I give something to you, I get something back, which is why you can be scared of giving without expectation, or receiving from others who don't have any expectations from you but just simply love you. I see there's a lot of love in your life, Pile too, but it may be hard for you to receive it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna say that again. Something in you has decided that people are always selfish, not because they're evil or something. It's just a nature of, like, an attribute of humanness. You're very neutral about it. People are always selfish. There's always an exchange. And if I want a lot, I have to give a lot, and I can't do that. I can't do that. And why can't you do it? Because whether you know it or not, a lot of your emotional energies are very much invested in your mother. Whether they want it or not, whether they've acknowledged it or not, whether they, think of you as being close or not, you continue to give them a lot in your own mind and heart. So there's literally no place for other relationships. Okay, so what do you need to do? I feel like you have created such a... There is balance here, Pile 2. Like, you could live your whole life like this and you'll be fine. So this is the first thing I want to say to you in terms of what to do next, now that we know this much. You're going to have to actively choose healing if you want. You can continue like this, it's fine. You found your own sources of happiness. You are a loving person, even though you don't really express that. There are good people around you. So, you can go on like this. But you can also choose to heal your heart. You can choose to have depth in your relationships. You can choose to feel loved and to give love. You can choose that, but it's also okay if you don't. Okay, and now if you choose that, if you choose healing, then you're going to have to work on this. And the first thing you're going to have to do is admit honestly to yourself how your mother has been with you. Okay, there is a little bit of idealization of her that you're going to have to work through. And I think that idealization is there. Like with all kids, it's very hard for us to accept that our parents are flawed, and so sometimes we go the opposite way. Instead of angry, we get really glamored by them. Happens to the best of us. So you're going to have to admit to yourself how your mother really was with you, and then strictly accept that was just one person in your life. This is not the template of humanness. This is not the template of relationality. Yeah, I think that if you choose to do this work, there's a lot of, what's the right way to say this? passion is coming your way. An opportunity for a real, passionate, loving relationship is available to you. You're going to have to choose to do this work. And I want to say again that you can choose not to do it too. So I feel like you have to, this pile, whoever's picked this pile, you have to be really ready for this work. Otherwise, it's going to feel like you're just mentally decided, I'm going to do this work, but emotionally your body stays where it is with your mother. This opportunity of a passionate, loving relationship, it's going to take you by surprise. It usually does. Where are you being called to journey to? Passion. Align your life. Doomed to fit in. Exactly. Your mother is just one person, not the template of humanness or love. How are you being called to step up and lead? I think maybe this is the person, this is the opportunity. This is the person with whom you can have the loving relationship of your dreams. This person will teach you a lot. I mean, you have to do your own work, of course, no one can do that for you. But I think this person will teach you a lot while being in a relationship with you. The way they'll model giving and receiving, and also give you the space to have your own styles of giving and receiving. It sounds so corny, but I don't mean it that way. Well, maybe. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. Yeah. This is real. This is like a big healing project if you choose to go for it. What are you clinging on to? That's a good question to ask of yourself, Pile 2. Why? What is keeping you attached to your mother? Let's see if we can get some guidelines for you on that question. What is keeping you attached to your mother? Because something is. Embrace your uniqueness. It's all coming together. The anointed, soul gifts. Rapture. What is keeping you attached to your mother? It's not very clear to me, Pile 2. There's something very weird that's coming through. I say weird because I can't understand it. I'm feeling like a fear of soul living. Maybe this will mean something to you. Like you're afraid that there is a soul. Like you're afraid that there is something beyond this lifetime. That thought scares you. You're scared of having a soul. I don't know how this is connected to your mother. There's a hyper realism within you. Because all realistic people, I think, I think it's very realistic to think that there is a divine dimension to things. So hyper-realism to me is a kind of negation of reality. It is not realistic. It's actually intensifying one element of reality to an intensifying it, exaggerating it to a level that actually distorts our view of reality. Sorry, I'm not too articulate. It's not very clear to me. There is something that is keeping you attached to your mother, and in relation to that, something that's coming up is fear of the soul, fear of having a divine dimension to yourself. Whatever love is trying to enter your life has that electric soul quality. You may fall in love with them at first sight, or you may feel something in your body that is hard to integrate. But somehow these two things are attached. Somehow they're entangled. If this is true, can you please put it in the comments or send me a private message on Instagram or something? I'd really like to know how these two things are connected, if you don't mind sharing. Alright, Pile 2, that's your reading. Sorry about the confusion at the end, and all the best with this. I am biased, and I hope that you do choose the path of healing your heart. Alright, high pile 3. Shuffling on camera to draw your energy out. You have very tender feelings towards your mother, very soft feelings. You may otherwise be a very blunt person and may have a reputation for being direct. Even sometimes abrasive. Truth is more important to you than how you deliver it, or other people's emotions, or even your own. It's not that you expect other people to coddle you. Coddle is the word that's coming, so that means, that tells me that you don't really, it's not really you don't think that it's your responsibility to manage other people's emotional lives, which can be a very healthy stance to take. It can also be a little bit irresponsible, depending on how you're actualizing that stance. But towards your mother, you have very tender feelings, very soft. It's so sweet, very soft. Your mother is a soft person, maybe soft spoken, maybe sort of dreamy, in the sense that like they're in their own world. Maybe they're an artist, maybe, so they spend like the whole life in their own world and colors and creating things. It's a very feminine world, your mother's world. You love that. If they have a studio, you love going into the studio. You put your defenses down when you go there. It's very hard for you to do that outside, though, of your mother's space. It's strange. I feel very tenderly towards your mother. Your mother is a lovely person, very soft and loving, but it doesn't feel like both of you are very close. It's like, this is all you want from them? Witnessing their softness? They don't know much about your life? Hanged Man. Judgment. There's some kind of an unsullied corner of your life, you know. You know what I'm getting? Like this mafia don who goes around killing people and yelling at people and torturing people, and then goes to their mother's place for an hour and just floating in the mother's music, and for that hour there's no violence and there's no torture, and that life does not exist. That kind of a stark contrast. And maybe that's why also you don't really have a relationship with your mother, because like a conversational relationship, because it feels almost like you don't want to disturb it. You don't want anything to take away that softness from you. You know that something about your life they wouldn't like, or they would ask you to change. You don't want any of that. You stay in your soft studio. Okay. Slowly the toxicity here is coming out. The wounding here is coming out. You stay in your studio. Be the soft person I need you to be. You don't want your mother to be a person, pile 3. You want your mother to be a symbol. Stay in your studio. I have a lot of battles in my life, and I don't want you to be one of them. There are a lot of things I need to do. Yeah, and I have to figure it out my own way. Your mother wound, my dear, is that you don't trust your mother to be practical and capable of handling conflict with you in their own life. Now, you may have real reason for feeling this way. Maybe they weren't able to handle conflict in their life, and you've seen that at close quarters. But I feel like this is more your internalization of your mother. You think they cannot be who you are. They don't have the kind of strengths you do, just practical, taking tough decisions, acting on them, not caring about what other people think, having to dole out judgments that other people may not like. You think they can't do that, and so you're romanticizing their softness, but in some ways you're also imprisoning them in this two-dimensional image. Why are you imprisoning them? Six of coins and the 4 of coins. Together the 10 of coins. Seven of coins. you're not able to access your own softness. Maybe you're afraid of it, maybe there's no space for it in the life that you've built for yourself. So with your mother, that can be your access to something that you can't access within, and you need them. So there are two things happening here. One is that your romanticization of your mother is actually based on your judgment of her, them, that they're not grounded enough or practical enough or capable enough to take tough decisions. So you're actually romanticizing what you experience as a lack within them. But then on the other hand, also you have ambitions for which you've built a very difficult, you function in a very difficult world. You've built a life where there is no space to be soft. You cannot let go of your hard exterior for even a second. And so then the mother becomes a wonderful way of accessing softness. It's like, my body can't produce vitamin C on its own, so I'm going to take vitamin C supplements or something like that. This could also be someone else in your life, someone else's mother wound, because it's feeling this person. I can't imagine this person watching a tarot reading, you know what I mean? Because this person feels very like a very mafia masculine kind of a person. Like really, I'm seeing movies play out in my head. Tough guy, very soft mother in a very safe mansion somewhere. Pile 2 also had a message of someone who's coming into their life if they wanted, and pile 3 also has a message. If you're not already committed, there is the possibility of someone entering your life who's extremely balanced, extremely so, superbly practical and superbly intellectual. I'm being asked to use superlatives. Very intellectual, very practical, and also has their inner child alive. Who's this goddess? You might bungle this up though, pile 3. Or whoever pile 3 is. Yeah, okay, I'm getting it. I'm getting King of Swords. Yeah, okay. Your message, pile 3, is that you have to... How do I say this? It just sounds so trite. Your mother is not a symbol. I'm being asked to yell at you. Your mother is not a symbol. Your mother is a whole person. And you're going to really have to think if your ambition is that important that you're shutting your own softness out, because you're missing out on balanced, good relationships. So what's happening here is that, like your mother, then you only look for, extremely soft individuals to get into a relationship with, and then sooner or later they disappoint you because they are not balanced, like you are not balanced. It's very strange to get romantic messages in a mother wound reading, but here we are. Yeah, but basically your mother wound is preventing you from having fulfilling relationships. And the person who seems to be entering your life or is about to, my God, wow. If you want that kind of a partnership that's balanced and equal, you're going to have to get into balance yourself. Just you have to face your judgment of softness, of your emotion, of you judge anyone who has an emotional body that, okay, this is classic misogyny and could be unconscious. I'm not saying you hate women. You are suspicious of the emotional body. You're suspicious of people who have active emotional lives. You're going to have to work through that. What you've done in your head is you do the hard things. You think mummy is going to be soft and emotional, and you carry on. But you are going to have to activate your soft emotional side and understand why you judge it so much. What about it threatens you so much? If you are really a mafia don, can you say that in the comments? That'll feel like such a certificate for my intuition. Creating heaven on earth. Lineage of the rose moved by the goddess. The person who's going to enter your life feels like a goddess. I'm sorry, this is turning into a really cheesy reading, but it's what's on the table. Retreat, rest, be held. Embodiment, living in connection. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Yes, just say yes. All right. Pile 3. Your heart is hardened and needs some softness. That's where I'm going to end this. Very strange message to get for a mother wound, but it's what it is. I trust that you needed it.